It's the Mitch Walker Show with the Doctor. If you're looking for a lot of happy talk and fluff, tune into the Disney Channel. And now, the man with a mind for statistics. Unfortunately, those statistics are usually odds on ponies in Vegas. Mitch the Doctor Walker.
All right, it is the Mitch Walker Show, and I believe it's Monday night. I'm pretty sure it is. And we have got a huge show lined up for you tonight. I'm telling you, if you've ever wondered about sponsorship, tonight is the show you need to be listening to. We're going to have Jeff Lambert on talking about sponsorship, how to get them, and how to keep them, and what's important in the world of sponsorship. Also on the show, we're going to have Mr. Shannon Norwood, the man in charge up the road, Spring City, Tennessee, at Mountain View Raceway. He'll be joining us here in a little bit. And we're also going to have a young man who I just happened to go to high school with, Mr. Larry Bronfin, who's going to be coming in and talking about NASCAR. As an older fan, one of over 40 years, he's going to talk about what drew him to NASCAR, what he liked about NASCAR, and what has driven him away from NASCAR. So just to get a different perspective on it, but I tell you what, let's kick the show off like we do each and every week with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, one of the things that I do want to touch on real quick before we go to our first break, all the people that messaged me last week in regards to the show with me and Bill Blair and us talking about the Confederate flag and the direction NASCAR has taken, I want to thank each and every one of you for the messages that you have sent me, the text messages, a few of you that made the phone call. It's okay to have different opinions. That's what makes this world what it is. We can have different opinions and still be friends. We can have different opinions and still hang out together. So to all of you that sent the messages, regardless of what your position was, thank you. Because really and truly, the fans and the listeners is what makes me do this each and every week. But I'm telling you, I was excited and I was humbled by some of the comments that we got this past week on the show from last week. And I talked with Bill Blair, and he was just tickled to death on some of the things that some of the fans had said. So, you know, keep up the good work, and we love hearing from our fans and our listeners. So it makes it important. So, you know, you may think that, oh, my little comment ain't going to make a difference in the world. It does. It really does. And the direction, you know, that NASCAR has taken over the past, this year especially, and the past 10 years in general, is one of the things that we're going to be touching on later on in the show when we talk with Larry Bronfin. Now, the thing with Mountain View Raceway, I was up there this past Saturday night, cool little quarter-mile racetrack with some awesome racing. It's really different, and it's unique in a lot of different ways, and they've undergone a major rebuilding process up there, and I'm just tickled to death to get to go up there and hang out with them. So we'll be talking with Shannon Norwood coming up in a few minutes about that, and, of course, the sponsorship thing. With sponsorship at a premium today in the racing world, everybody's looking for sponsors. We touched on this last week with the comments that Cannon Cochran made, young driver here in the Northwest Georgia area. And it got me to thinking, and thinking for me can sometimes be a bad thing. But this time it was one of those things that worked out real good. And after reading his comments, I knew I had to put him and our first guest together, Mr. Jeff Lambert from Armed Forces Racing. Jeff has a program for obtaining sponsors, keeping sponsors, and making sponsors happy. So we're going to be talking with him a little bit about that and find out how you can get involved and how you can get Jeff on board with you to help your program. Because I know unless you're sitting on a $100,000 a year sponsorship deal, everybody could use a little bit more help in the sponsorship field. So tune in for that one, and I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Jeff's a great guy. He's got a good program and got a lot of different options. And we're going to find out about those. And we're also going to find out about Armed Forces Racing, the thing he's got going for veterans. So sit tight. Don't go nowhere. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor. And you'll find me exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, Recording Artists Against Drunk Driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives and so should you.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
It's the Mitch Walker Show. If you're looking for a lot of happy talk and fluff, go watch NASCAR coverage on Fox TV. Now, here's the Doctor, Mitch Walker.
All right, welcome back. You know, it's always good when you can do a show that helps people out. You know, we've done a lot of shows on safety. We've had a lot of positive feedback from our listeners. Some of the things that we've mentioned during those shows, they have taken to heart and used them and either saved themselves some money or found problems that they didn't know existed. So we kind of shifted gears, and we've got another, I don't want to say an infomercial, but this next guest is going to be loaded with information that if you're in dirt track racing, you need to be paying attention to this next young man. Joining us right now from Armed Forces Racing, Mr. Jeff Lambert. Jeff, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, good, Mitch. How are you, my friend?
Man, I'm finding a frog hair split 3 ways and sanded.
Well, I'm glad to be back with you again. I always love coming on your show.
Oh yeah, you know, you're not a newbie here. You know, you've been down this road a time or two. You've always brought a lot of interesting perspectives and a lot of good information to our listeners, and that's one of the reasons we brought you back tonight, because you've been fine-tuning on this program that you have, and you've really started to make some inroads, and we want to help share your program with a lot of the guys in dirt track racing and circle track, and this is a great way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so, I've been on the show. We've talked about Armed Forces Racing quite a bit. You actually brought me on because I wrote a book, became an Amazon bestseller called You Can't Have a Sponsor. And a lot of racers have bought that book, and picked up sponsorships with it. But kind of where all that started was with Armed Forces Racing. What happened, I had a great job, was working at a super company. I mean, it was just fantastic. I had some of the best benefits. I had a 4-week paid vacation every year, had excellent pay, and I started this nonprofit organization called Armed Forces Racing. Well, when I started this, my plan was to just fund that program out of my pocket. And because, like I said, I had a pretty good job. I had pretty good pay. And I had a lot of vacation time. I could do a lot of good things. But they ended up laying me off. And I ended up losing that job. They laid me off, eliminated my position. And now here I am with this nonprofit that I'm trying to start. And we're trying to introduce drag racing to disabled veterans in the form of recreational therapy. And I don't have a job and can't fund it now. So I had to go out and start looking at sponsorships, and I had to figure out how to get sponsorships. And I had hired a couple of companies that were supposed to help me, but they weren't much help. So I made it a vow and a promise to myself right there that I was going to figure this out. And when I did, I was going to help other racers figure out how to get their sponsorships, and build their programs. So that's kind of how this all started out, and that's how I ended up starting racesponsorships.net, and that's the name of that company.
Well, now I know, Jeff, we've talked about this before, and I've said it many times myself that sometimes when one door closes, the good door will open another door. And I think in your case,
Sure.
when he closed the door with your regular day job, when he swung that next door open, that wasn't just a regular door. That was like a 14 by 14 roll-up door, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty big. It was big. So, of course, I was scared to death, But, eventually, Mitch, I started figuring out this sponsorship thing. And now let me tell you, Edison, what was it, the famous quote Edison said, I didn't fail at making the light bulb. I just learned 1,000 ways it didn't work or something like that. But
yeah.
In sponsorships, I failed miserably a bunch of times before I finally figured out what actually needed to happen in sponsorship. So I would like to share that with your audience if you're okay with that.
Oh, it just tickles me to death.
All right, good. All right, so I started a program. We have a racesponsorships.net training program that I started, and we call it our boot camp. And it's the entry level, trying to help you get into sponsorships. And one of the things that I learned when I started taking myself through this process was I ended up finding out what the fundamentals. That was my goal. What are the fundamentals of sponsorships? And when I figured those out, that's really when things started kind of coming together for me. So if you're listening to this, there's 3 things that you have to have in order to make the sponsorship work. And I can tell you that most people, most racers have gone down the road of walking up to somebody or walking into a performance shop or store and saying, hey, I'll throw a sticker on the side of my car if you can help me out with a set of tires, or help me out with a drum of fuel, or whatever it is. And that is like the worst approach ever. And that was one of the things that I was doing when I was first starting out. I thought, I've got this nonprofit organization, and everybody's going to be on board because we're helping veterans. Well, it doesn't work that way, and it didn't work that way. So the 3 fundamentals. Here's 3 things that you have to have if you're going to make sponsorships work. You've got to be able to be marketable. You have to market yourself. most racers are like, well, I don't know where to start. I don't know what I have to offer to sponsors. Well, let me tell you something. Where you start is marketing yourself. Now, you don't have to be Michael Jordan. You don't have to be Dale Earnhardt, but you do have to be somebody or something that is marketable, and you have to build yourself up to be marketable. You got to build your brand. You can use social media to do those. Your biography. Too many racers have a biography that is way too long. And that's one of the things we do at racesponsorships.net. We will help you write that biography. But here's a tip for you. If your bio on your social media page is more than 130 words, it's too long. And what you should be putting in your bio is put how you got into racing. Second paragraph should be what are your biggest achievements, and the third paragraph should be what your plans are for the season. That's all that sponsors want to know. I've spent the last 3 years interviewing companies and asking these questions, and what I'm giving you right now is what they're telling me. So if I'm giving this to you, it's not because I am the greatest, smartest man in the world. It's because I went and asked companies, what are you wanting to see? And this is what they're telling me. Another ways you can market yourself is using press kits. Remember, how you treat others, that affects your brand. You know, how many racers you look out there that are not as pleasant, I guess, to be around. They're a little rude maybe, but that's their brand. What's the Kyle Busch? You know, a lot of people love to hate Kyle Busch. I bet you Kyle Busch is probably the nicest person in the world out in behind a closed door. But he kind of gets on everybody's nerves, and that's kind of his brand. And then there's some tools for the trade that you need for your branding, like your logo, your biography we just talked about, your social media page. You need to have a good website and a good race page where the people can come and interact with you. So some of those tools. So that principle number one, what I call principle number one, marketing yourself. That's the number one thing that has to happen. Number two can only happen after number one, and it's relationships. You have to have a relationship. If you're a racer out there right now that is going up to those people and saying, hey, I'll put a sticker on the side of the car for a set of tires, you are not taking the time to build a relationship first. It takes time. You can't just ask for a sponsorship. I know that there's people out there that's got it that way, and I know it's happened for somebody, but it's just blind luck. It's like hitting the lottery. It's not, and most of the time there usually was a relationship that was already in place. So if you're going out with your handouts, what I tell racers, when you walk into a place, don't go out with your hand out asking for something, but go with your hand giving something. You should be giving before you ask. So you have to build that relationship. Remember, it is your job to be a friend. It is my job to be a friend to you as someone that was sponsoring you as well. But it's your job first to be a friend to a company or to a person that you're trying to get to sponsor you. Just think about this. I don't just go to Mitch and say, hey, Mitch, by the way, we don't know each other, but you're now my best friend. We're going to be best friends. You don't have a choice. Now, give me $100 for my race program. It don't work that way. You have to take time to build that relationship in order to do it. So building a relationship, now who do you get to sponsor you is a big question I ask. Well, let me ask you, who do you have a sponsorship or a relationship with? That's who you get to sponsor you, who you have a relationship with. And if you don't have a relationship, there's three types of relationships. You have to have one, number one. Number two, or you have to know someone that has one. And Mitch, I know that that works well in the industry when you know somebody that is willing to speak on your behalf because of your branding and your personality. Or the number three is you have to build one. So you have to take time to build one. You can't just walk in and say, give me $100 and I'll put your sticker on the side of the car. It just don't work that way, guys. So, and then so that's the biggest thing who do I get to sponsor me? Who of you have a relationship? What should you offer potential sponsors? Get out of the box. Stop doing everything that everybody else thinks you should be doing and do something different. That's what you should offer potential sponsors. I'll give you a perfect example. I got Siebert Performance Carburetor as my sponsor. By the way, I forgot to say this, but Armed Forces Racing, after I figured this out, Armed Forces Racing and my personal racing program have been fully funded for 4 years now by doing the stuff that I'm telling you all right now. So what should you offer potential sponsors? Remember, I said don't go with your hand out, asking, go with it giving. So I called up Siebert Performance Carburetors, and I was looking for a carburetor for a sponsorship. And I said, let me ask you, I don't want you to give me a carburetor. I want to buy a carburetor from you. But I would like for you to put an Armed Forces Racing sticker on it, and let's call that a special edition carburetor. And for every one of those that I sell for you, would you be willing to donate back to Armed Forces Racing? So now I took the time to reach out to offer. I actually bought the carburetor myself, had him put the sticker on there, gave him the logo to do it with. He put it on there, and then we started building a relationship. I've sold hundreds of carburetors for Siebert Performance. And in my opinion, best carburetor tuner out there. All right, so now I don't pay for any of my carburetors, so it became mutually beneficial. So anyway, and then what to expect from sponsors. You should be expecting from your sponsors to be moral, to be supportive of you, okay? Not what they can do for you, but just being supportive of you. All right, that's one of the things. So where to find them? If I had to say to your listeners, Mitch, what is Jeff's superpower? That's my superpower. Guys, go look for sponsors where other people are not looking. Quit looking. Here's the number one tip for you. Quit looking at race industry companies. Race industry companies like tire companies, fuel companies, seat belts, all those companies are in business to do what? To sell you product.
We're going to step out, take a quick commercial break, and we'll come right back. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the doctor, and my very special guest, Mr. Jeff Lambert from Armed Forces Racing. And we will be right back right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
If you're a racer and you've not yet heard of Raceworks Incorporated in Berlin, Connecticut, you'll be hearing about them soon. Raceworks is Connecticut's official LFR and Troyer repair shop and fabricator for all your modified chassis needs. Raceworks Incorporated is your one-stop race shop covering all of your modified needs. From a complete roller to fabrication of new body panels for that beginning of year update or for an after-race weekend repair, Raceworks Incorporated has you covered. Raceworks Incorporated, also specializing in prep, chassis setup, shock testing, and interior fabrication. Raceworks Incorporated is proudly owned and operated by New England Antique Racers Association inductee Ed Flemke. That's Raceworks Incorporated, located in Berlin, Connecticut. Give them a call at 860-829-1312. That's 860-829-1312. Raceworks Incorporated. Tell all your racing friends.
Everywhere you go, you hear it, and you see it. It's coming at you through your phone, your tablet, and your computer. It's broadcast from your favorite radio station, TV networks, and cable companies. It's in the stadiums, the arenas, the ballparks. It screams for your attention at the mall. It's interactive on Main Street. It's even coming at you from the gas pump at the nearby convenience store. What is it? It's digital content. It's digital content. It's digital content. Somebody has to create it. Somebody has to manage it. So whether your dream is to write it, design it, create it, call it, produce it, voice it, host it, light it, shoot it, switch it, record it, color correct it, edit it, code it, repurpose it, tweet it, blog it, post it, compress it, upload it, replay it, or make sure it gets to where it's got to go when it's got to get there in the format it's got to be in, you need to attend
Carolina School of Broadcasting.
The skills you will learn, the experience you will get, and the connections you will make at Carolina School of Broadcasting will open the doors to the career you want in digital content creation and digital content management. Call or come by today. Click csbradiotv.edu.
Everyone knows Strutmasters is the suspension experts for luxury vehicles, and now we offer motorcycle products. Introducing Easy Rider Complete Motorcycle Air Suspension, brought to you by Strutmasters.com. You can raise and lower your bike with the flip of a switch. Take those long rides with the ultimate comfort of Easy Rider air shocks. They're backed by Strutmasters, and you won't believe the low price. Check out Easy Rider Motorcycle Air Suspension at Strutmasters.com.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speeds, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Racing is all about winning. But hey, the second place guy has family too. Now back to the Mitch Walker Show with the Doctor.
All right, welcome back, and thank you for tuning in. In with us tonight, Mr. Jeff Lambert, and we were talking sponsor proposals and sponsor relationships and marketability. Now, Jeff, we've covered the first two steps. Now, you described how you're not buying carburetors anymore because of the relationship you built with your carburetor guy. Now, explain more to us about step number 3.
Sure. So, principle number 3, I call mine the principles, but, fundamentals, however you choose to do that, is maintain the relationship. The biggest mistake that racers make is if they follow step 1 or fundamental number 1 and fundamental number 2, they get their foot in the door. Maybe they've got a little bit of a product sponsorship discount or a product, given to them, or, cash. I mean, that happens as well. But the biggest mistake that they make is number 3 is they don't maintain that relationship. Remember, I said that it was your job to be a friend to these companies. Well, friendships just don't end when the season does. So if your season, I don't know exactly when everybody's, listening racing season, but let's say that racing season ends in October for you. Well, November, December, January, February, and March, till the season starts back up, you don't stop communicating with your sponsors. It's your job to make sure that you continue to be that friend. And a matter of fact, if you're treating sponsorships the right way and doing the right things, sponsorships, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, maybe if we get the opportunity, but sponsorships are a lot of work. And so if you're doing the right things during the race season, you're spending a lot of time working with your sponsorships. So in the off season is actually the best time to do it because you're not racing as much. You're not doing all those other extracurricular things that is going on. So it's time to start supporting your sponsors and building that relationship. So understand that while you're maintaining that sponsorship, sponsors are going to expect things from you, and it's a year-round deal. It's not just during the season. So take the time, maintain that relationship during and after the season. And that's the three principles that I have fully funded my race programs off of: making yourself marketable, building a relationship, and then maintaining that relationship.
One comment that we got when you look back on, say, the past 20 years ago, the relationship that a lot of dirt track racers have always had with their sponsor is, well, I'll drag my race car out and park it in front of your store, or I'll drag my race car over here and I'll put your sticker on there and I'll endorse your product. And here's an 8x10 glossy of me in Victory Lane. It takes a whole lot more than that, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh, yes. There is so much more that you need to be doing. One of the things that I did was I've seen hundreds of contracts for sponsorships. And some of them I actually do ask for appearances, to appear at car shows, Got one racer that works with me is in the RV world, So I tell people all the time to go look for sponsorships outside of the racing industry. And he got a sponsorship in the RV world, so he actually takes his car and his whole setup to the RV shows. And so appearances are important, but there's so much more than just putting a sticker on the side of your car. Great ways to add value. Again, appearances are one, but your social media posts is one. Product sample handouts, coupon codes. Learn to track the return on investment. That is a big thing that racers should be doing that are not doing. That's the reason why I said don't just put a sticker on your side of your car. Ask for a coupon code. If you got a service station that changes oil, offer a coupon code where they give you a free brake inspection with every oil change. And then every time that person takes that coupon code in there or that little business card, whatever it is that you put it on, that owner now knows, oh, such and such racer that I invested my marketing dollars is paying off because he's sending me new customers. So there's a lot more to it than putting just a sticker on the side of the car, just like you said, Mitch.
And by tracking that, and like you said, that also gives you a tool to work with your sponsor on, showing your sponsor saying, hey, look, this is what we've done for you. This is how we have us working together has benefited you because this is the business that you have gotten that otherwise you may not have already gotten, correct?
Exactly. When you're looking, here's the thing to think about with your sponsors. You're trying to do one of two things. You're trying to take them away from pain, or you're trying to take them towards pleasure. And what I mean by that is if the customer is the sponsor is looking for more customers, and that's their pain point, then get them more customers. And you can do that, just like we talked about with the coupon code. Do that. You should be so passionate about talking about your sponsor that you're willing to speak up at any time, any place, with anyone that says something that has related to your sponsor. So you should be that passionate. And then when you take them towards pleasure, this is kind of one of my favorite tactics with Armed Forces Racing. When I learned this, is because what is one of the things they want to be involved in? They want to be involved in with the veterans. It's what I call the feel-good return on investment. So I'm taking them towards pleasure. I'm taking them towards something that feels good, and they like to do it and enjoy getting involved with the veterans.
Well, I think that's one of the things that has impressed me is the amount of work that you have put into this. And this is, we have talked about this before. This is not something that just happened overnight. This is something you've been working on for quite some time. Yeah. And although you were forced into it, not by choice, but by necessity, because you wanted to keep Armed Forces Racing going and you got laid off, so you had to find another revenue stream to keep your programs going. And the amount of work that you have put into this is impressive in itself. And then you turn around and say, well, hey, I'm going to share this with all the people out there and help them get to the same level that I've got to. And that's impressive to me that you have taken up and taken that step up to help others and help them get their program up on a level that they had never been before. So it's new ground, and you're not just going to take them there and just leave them hanging. You're going to take them there, and you've kind of got a maintenance program that goes with that too, don't you?
I do, yeah. We have what we call the master class. So if you go through our boot camp, then you can enter into the master class, and then that's a lot more advanced techniques and it's a lot more coaching. And when you enter the master class, that's a lifetime of coaching with me. So you can get into our group, ask questions. Every student that I've ever had in there has gotten a sponsor. So not only are you getting tips and advice from me, but you're getting tips and advice from the racers who have gone out and used these things and put them in. So when you get into the master class, then we help you with your branding. We make sure that we get your Facebook page informative. We have to have an informative Facebook page. You cannot have a Facebook page that's bland or private. If you want to be on social media to be social, go make you a private social media page with your name and invite only your friends and family on there. but you need to have a personal profile out there that's public that your sponsors can go look. It's one of the biggest things that if you go look at applications for sponsorships, guess what the first 10 questions are about? It's always about your social media and what kind of engagement you're getting on there. That's what they want to know. They want to know how many people are you going to be able to reach for me on social media. People skip it too much, and they use it as a playground instead of a tool. That's one of the things that racers should stop doing, is use social media as a tool and not as a playground to go out there and, what I say, curate your nonsense. Don't go out there and be crazy about your daddy's mama, baby's mama, something, whatever, being acting foolish on there. Go and build your brand and use your social media as a tool to do that. Sorry, I got way off on a rant there. I get to preaching, Mitch.
No, it's quite all right, because really and truly, Jeff, you're saying things that racers themselves need to hear, because I can't tell you how many times I have seen people take the approach that you mentioned, well, hey, I'll put a sticker on my car if you'll give me a set of tires, that kind of approach, and they present the same thing over and over and over and over to the same people, and they wonder why they never get any kind of results, and it's I don't know, I guess it's frustrating on my part, because people don't want to think outside the box. They want to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, and they're getting the same results. And I mean, if I remember right, that's the definition of insanity.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's a big thing. Racers will come to me and they say, look, I've been told no so many times. They'll say, I'm either tired of being told no, or I'm not looking for my sponsors anymore and I'm funding this out of my pocket. And I just cringe, because I know that racers do not have to fund it out of their pocket. Just because you've been told no 100 times, that doesn't mean that you're just doing it wrong. It comes back to that relationship. If I did not know you at all, Mitch, and I said, hey, I got this race team here, I need $1,000, you're going to give it to me. You're just not going to give that to me. But if I've known you for 5 years and you've known what kind of person I've been, and you know that the racer that I have been and how I've treated other people, that's another thing, how I treat other people, then you're like, hey, this guy's a good guy. I think I could really do something with him. You'd be more apt to give me that money than just somebody that off the street that says, oh, by the way, we're best friends now, give me money.
Well, Jeff, I think one of the things that you mentioned, and it really rings true to me when you were talking about social media, and you were talking about keeping it active and keeping it positive. I see a lot of racers on different social medias taking and using, how would you put it, not using the right foot to step out with.
Right.
They're taking and thinking that they are going to make this big influence through their social media posts about a racetrack they didn't like, or a call that they didn't like an official made. And so by taking this step out there and posting this negativity about a certain track or a certain official, that they're going to affect change that way. And it don't work that way anymore, does it?
No, it does not. We actually have a rule at Armed Forces Racing, because, we sponsor veterans. We have race cars that in our program that veterans can come and drive our race cars, okay? And we have a rule, and that is the announcer's always right, the race promoter's always right, the staff's always right. It doesn't matter how wrong you felt like you just got done, they are always right, because we are not going to get into this conversation about, of hurting our brand. That's basically what I'm trying to say, is I don't want our brand hurt because you got mad because you felt like something went wrong. We have this thing in drag racing called tower power. And what that means is there's some racers out there that think the tower can control the computer to make you lose. And they feel like and so that's one of the things we hear all the time. Tower power's got me. And we laugh at those people, but there's people that believe it. And so that's why I said these promoters, these racers, these tracks, they have a hard job, and they're trying to please a lot of different types of people, and we are not going to be one of those people and get on social media and start blasting them for it.
Now, I want to take exception to one thing you said. You said announcers are always right. Me being an announcer myself, let me testify here. If you're a racer out there and the announcer blows your name and just totally screws it up, if you can track him down when he goes to the bathroom or when the night is over, if you can catch him and say, hey, my last name is pronounced this way, he will greatly appreciate that.
Right.
Okay? Because, a lot of times announcers, we just call it like we see it, and sometimes it bites you in the butt and sometimes it don't. But promoters and officials, I will agree with you 100% from the racer standpoint. They are always right. But now on the announcer's part, you got to cut him a little slack, because announcers are not the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Well, where that actually came from was we had a racer, we had a veteran racing, and he gets back to the pit and he loses, and his wife said, the announcer said, you won. Well, you can't go to the tower and raise all kinds of cane. If the ticket that you have in your hand says you lost, I don't care what he said, you lost. That's where that comes from. That's the reason why I say that. But I get what you're saying. I understand.
Oh yeah, and I totally understand. There are times when in the booth, and this is kind of off topic, but I know I got a lot of racers that are listening tonight, so I want to make this clear. There are a lot of times we see things from a different viewpoint than most racers do. Racers on the racetrack see everything that's in front of them. They don't see nothing that's behind them. People that are sitting in the pit grandstands, they see things from a crew standpoint about, that's my car, you touched my car. And from the announcer standpoint or the official standpoint, we look at it as those cars are nothing but numbers. We don't play favorites. Yes, we know Joe Blow the Ragman's in number 5, but from an official, from a judgment call standpoint, that's just car number 5.
Right.
And we make mistakes. There have been times when I've watched the cars cross the start-finish line and they be neck and neck, and I'll say the win goes to car number 6, and then I'll look over at the scoring screen and the transponder said that the win went to car number 4. So, from my standpoint, it looked like number 6 won, but you can't argue with technology, and technology said number 6 won. So you have to backtrack and give it back to whoever really did win. But I totally see what you're saying. And it's one of those things where a lot of racers don't realize how important their comments can be. And, there's a sign up. I wish I would have got a picture of it. And I know it's been up at a lot of racetracks, but it's up at Mountain View Raceway. I seen it this past weekend. It says somewhere in the stands, there's a little kid that wants to be just like you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He wants to be a racer just like you. Don't be a goober and uphold that little kid's image of what he thinks you are.
Yeah.
People often think that, I can just go ahead and say whatever I want to on social media. I have freedom of speech. Yes, you do. And you can say whatever you want to. Mm-hmm. But by the same token, the people reading it can do whatever they want to. If they think you're a goober, then you're a goober. And nothing you're going to say is going to change that. So a lot of times with comments that I make, I'll think one thing, and I'll type that message out, and boy, I'll roast somebody. I'll rake them over the coals. I'll write it. I'll wait 15 minutes. And then I go back and I reread it. And 99.9% of the time, when I reread that comment, first thought in my mind, damn, I'm glad I didn't post that, because that really makes me look like an idiot. And I would delete it, but I got it out of my system by writing at that time on just Notepad or Word. You know, I'll type it somewhere so that I can feel better about getting it out of my system, but I don't post it publicly. Yeah. And that's the one thing that I think a lot of people overlook in social media. But now, Jeff, we're up against the commercial break here in just a second, so I want to keep this one short, but you can answer this when we come back. Do you think that people often overlook just how important some of their social media comments are?
Oh, absolutely.
If I take a quick commercial break, when we come back, I'll let you delve into that a little bit and tell people just how stupid they can be sometimes. So don't go nowhere. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker, and my very special guest, Mr. Jeff Lambert. And you'll find us exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park. Motorsports sales professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up! You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem, and no excuses. Because it's not rocket science, it's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu, that's mycomputercareer.edu.
The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication. But it's those tough choices that help me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
You're listening to The Mitch Walker Show. You want half-naked girls, singing, and sound effects? Go watch American Idol. Now, here's the doctor.
All right, welcome back. Sitting in with me tonight, Mr. Jeff Lambert from Armed Forces Racing, and we are talking about sponsorship and how everyone can step their game up and improve their, I guess you could say, their program by taking their sponsorship to the next level. Now, Jeff, right before break, we kind of touched on a topic, and I wanted to dive into it, and I wanted to give you enough time to respond, so we held it until after the break. That's social media and how important those comments that you make, how widely read they can be, and how they can be misconstrued, and how you really need to put some thought into what you post on social media when you're trying to improve your marketability and your branding. It makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
Oh, it certainly does. Yeah. So, I wrote in my book, I put in there called the Golden Rule, and this pertains to just about everything, but we were talking about social media and your presence and your marketability. And I'll read that to you because it's pretty short, but it's pretty to the point. And it's, people expect you to be the same person in real life as to how you act online. The strongest marketing tactic you can utilize is how you physically present yourself to the rest of the world through your attitude and your treatment of others. If you will follow that, no matter whether or not it's in social media or on an interview or talking to the mom and dad with the little kid that's come up to you, you have no clue who they are, and treat other people the same all the time and treat them well. It's a pretty simple life thing. Just be nice, but social media, so how we talk about social media, and here's how I explain it to racers. Matter of fact, in our master class, I had a lady on named Cheryl Herrick, and Cheryl worked for a company, and they got 50 sponsorships or requests a day. By the way, they were mostly phone calls. Hey, I blew up an engine. If you give me an engine, I'll put a sticker on your car, which we know that's not the right way. But she said to me, I asked the question to her, and because I wanted the rest of the class to hear her answer, and I said, how much is social media important to you all when you go to look at potential people as you're going? She says it's everything, and I'll tell you why. She said because I want to see how professional and how well behaved they were in a sense before we were a thought. Before we became, a potential sponsor for them, I want to go and see how they treated everybody else to begin with, because if they weren't treating people there, it will eventually come back and they'll do the same thing again. So that's how important it was to her. And let me tell you something else. Whenever you go to look at sponsorship applications, I touched on this earlier, but everything that they want to know is about your social media. We live in a social media world. You can use social media to your advantage. Again, use it as a tool and not a playground. Curate your nonsense. If you've got a bunch of ugly stuff on your Facebook page or your Instagram or social, whatever it is, your platform you use, go and delete that stuff out. Or if it's bad enough, I've had racers before bad enough, delete the account and start over. Because if it's that bad, because that's exactly what companies are doing. They're going to look at your social media. For that matter, even out in the world, besides those sponsorships, companies are now going to looking at your social media before they hire you. So just be nice. Follow the golden rule. It's how you utilize this marketing tactic, how you can utilize how you physically present yourself to the rest of the world through your attitude and your treatment of others, and that includes social media.
Now, you talk about the golden rule, and I know exactly what you're saying to be gospel truth, because I have seen in the industry I work in during the daytime, which is industrial doors, commercial doors, I know that there have been a lot of guys who have voiced displeasure at a particular product or another company, and I have seen the repercussions that brought about because somebody took to social media and was bashing their competitors. And they were told, and I won't mention any names, but they were told, look, either you delete the comment or you're going to be looking for another job. And if you see another comment like that, then you'll be looking for another job. And what I advised this person, I said, look, you have everything on your social media posted to public. If you really want to express yourself on social media, create a separate page just for you and your cronies who understand your humor or understand your rants, and you keep those comments private so that not the whole world can read them. And that's one way I guess people can do that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I have a lot of racers that I work with have 2 Facebook personal accounts. I'm not talking about a business page, a race page. I mean, obviously I'm talking about that. You should have one of those. If you don't have one of those, you are really behind. That is now, people are going to disagree and argue with me about this, but I can tell you in the sponsorship world, a Facebook page is now your website. Yes, do you have a website? I think you should have a website still. There's a lot of great ways to support your sponsors using a website, but you should have a race page. And sorry I got off on the topic there a little bit, but even if you don't have a race page, there's a lot of my racers that I've worked with have 2 separate pages because they don't want everybody to know, what's going on with their kids, so they keep it private, Maybe their kids are playing T-ball. Well, they only want special family members and friends to see that stuff. And then they'll create another one that they can use as a tool. Like I said, use it as a tool instead of a playground and make yourself marketable. That's how you bring a following, to yourself, is through that. You can share videos and do call to actions and create events and provide your schedule and your updates on your races. You can do all that on your personal page. I would recommend having a race page because that's what companies are going to look at. Plus, a race page, a business race page, will give you the insights that you need and the statistics that companies are going to ask you for. I promise you, these companies, if you do it the right way, they are going to ask you what your social media presence is like.
Well, now, Jeff, I know that, there's a lot of people out there that are sitting there going, what he's saying makes a lot of sense, and what he's saying is something that I should really apply, but how do I go about it? How do I get on board? How do I get Jeff on my team? Now, Jeff, tell everybody kind of the process. Now, you also have a book that I know is available on Amazon and all the different, I don't want to say social media, but all the different retail outlets that are online. Mm-hmm. But tell everybody how they can get your book first.
Sure, Amazon. I ended up going exclusive with Amazon, so it's only on Amazon or through me. You can get it through me as well. But Amazon, just go search in books. You can have a sponsor, or you can search my name, Jeff Lambert, and on Amazon right there. It's you can get it in ebook or in paperback. And if you order it from me, I can get it to you for paperback, and then I'll autograph it for people that order it through me. And you can do that through just contacting me directly through our social media networks or through our website, racesponsorships.net, or you can even go over to armedforcesracing.org and contact me and tell me you want a book over there.
Okay, now tell everybody how they can get involved with the boot camp program. How does, say, Joe Blow the Ragman out here has decided that he really sucks at tracking down sponsors, and he's needing some help because his wife is screaming and hollering for a new couch, but yet he's got to get a set of tires for the race car for next weekend because they're having that big 3,000 to win show, and he's needing some revenue stream. Tell people how they can get involved with the boot camp program.
So you can go to our Facebook page at racesponsorships.net. Contact me there. We're getting ready to release a schedule. We just now got our schedule out because of all this COVID stuff, that's been going on. So we decided to just do this online. I was going to try to do these more of a seminar type deal, but anyhow, the next date is July 13th, and we're going to do 2 a month. So July 13th and July 27th are the next 2. But you can go to our website again, racesponsorships.net, and then you can also go to our course website, which is racesponsorshipscourse.net, and you can find all the information about all of our courses there. We offer a 3 key principles course, we offer the boot camp course, and then we have the master class. But you do need to go through the boot camp class before we get to the master class, because the master class is not teaching you the basic fundamentals of it anymore. It's more advanced, and it's a lot of the getting into the weeds and we do build your web Facebook page there with you. We do help you write your biography. We do design your logo. We do your proposal for you. If racers are looking for a proposal, it's one of the things that we do. I designed what I call the 35-second proposal. That means you have 5 seconds to make a first impression, and then they only give you 30 seconds to read your proposal. That comes straight from the companies. Number one answer I get when I ask companies about proposals is, I do not have time to read them. So I designed one that they can and will read. Has to be eye-catching, make a great first impression. Anyway, we designed that for you in the master class. So you get a lot of deliverables in that. So that's why you need to go through the boot camp first before we get to the master class.
But now, okay, let me say this. I know most of your, let's say, circle track guys, your dirt track guys, have a limited budget. You know, I mean, they're counting nickels and dimes moving forward. But investing in a program like you have, the investment may be a set of tires to most of them, or a drum of fuel, or whatever the cost may be to them. That multiplies into 5 drums of fuel down the road, because if they apply what you teach them, that will help them bring in more revenue to their race team, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So every single person that goes through the boot camp, even the boot camp, I just had a lady sign up for the master class, which I was surprised. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't think she was going to move on into the master class. And the first day of the master class, I was like, all right, what did you think about the boot camp? Give me some feedback. And she said, oh, I got my money back. She said, I got my money back tenfold. I took what you taught us there, and I went and got sponsors. Now I want to know more, you know. So you got to remember, it's an investment, not for the quick. And what I mean by that is, you need a set of tires. I get that you need a set of tires. But you got to remember, this $99.99 investment into the boot camp can turn into 10 sets of tires over the next 3 years, or whatever it is you're working on. It's not just trying to get one set of tires. You should be thinking about growing your program and making it better, and doing that through marketing partnerships.
You know, I think the thing that impresses me, let me put it this way. The thing that impresses me about your program is not only will it apply to a guy who is funding a $100,000 super late model program out of his own pocket, but it also applies to a guy who's funding a $250 front-wheel drive car out of his own pocket. Because the information you provide is not locked into any financial range. It's open to everybody, and it's information that anybody can use, no matter what walk of life or what level of racing you're involved in, isn't it?
You're absolutely right. And, you know, I have businesses that take my course now, because it applies to business as well. I've got the lady, that's the reason why I said the lady went through the boot camp, she came over. You know, they run a fabrication shop, and she enjoyed that, and it grew their business so well. That's why she came back to learn more. Race promoters, track owners have taken my course. And Mitch, I had a movie company take my program and get their movie fully funded through what I teach right here. It works with everything.
I wonder if I can get a bass boat that way.
Hey, we can sure work on it with the right relationship. We'll get it done.
Well, Jeff, buddy, we're up against the break. I'm going to have to let you go. But, man, thanks so much for coming on. And tell everybody your websites one more time so that they got it all fresh. They all got their sharp little pencils out, and they're getting ready to start writing. So run those down to me one more time.
Sure. RaceSponsorships.net. Go to that website right there. You can contact me there and look through our stuff. And then you can also get us on Facebook at RaceSponsorships.net or armedforcesracing.org. They can go to that website there as well.
And Armed Forces Racing is a great project that you've got going on, and that you are funding to help veterans out. As a veteran myself, I know you are. It's funny because we just kind of wound up together. We're both Ford fans, and we're both Navy vets. So as a veteran myself, thank you for what you do for veterans out there who really and truly sometimes think that they've been forgotten, and you're able to bring them back and give them a thrill down the strip a time or two. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, they'll never be forgotten with us, I promise you.
Man, Jeff, I tell you what, buddy, it's been fun. It's been informative. I've got like 12 pages of notes here that I'm going to be trying to sort over myself. I might even use some of those myself moving forward, and if nothing else, apply them to my life in general, because I believe they will work. The information you're giving it is great for that too. But thanks so much, Jeff. And man, you got an open door to the show. Come back anytime you want.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mitch. I appreciate it, and I hope your listeners will reach out to us and let us know that they got some value out of tonight.
There you go. Drivers, racers, crew members, whatever the case may be, reach out to Jeff Lambert. Check him out, racesponsorship.net. And don't forget his book. You can have a sponsor on Amazon, or just search Jeff Lambert. It'll take you to it. We're rolling out. We're going to step out, take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to shift gears and go a whole different direction. So don't go nowhere. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, and you'll find me exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
If you're a racer and you've not yet heard of Raceworks Incorporated in Berlin, Connecticut, you'll be hearing about them soon. Raceworks is Connecticut's official LFR and Troyer repair shop and fabricator for all your modified chassis needs. Raceworks Incorporated is your one-stop race shop covering all of your modified needs. From a complete roller to fabrication of new body panels for that beginning of year update or for an after-race weekend repair, Raceworks Incorporated has you covered. Raceworks Incorporated, also specializing in prep, chassis setup, shock testing, and interior fabrication. Raceworks Incorporated is proudly owned and operated by New England Antique Racers Association inductee Ed Flemke. That's Raceworks Incorporated, located in Berlin, Connecticut. Give them a call at 860-829-1312. That's 860-829-1312. Raceworks Incorporated. Tell all your racing friends.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper cars, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety HMS serves a majority of NASCAR, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. The representatives are experts on making your track driving as safe as possible. You have family and friends who care about you, so don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop into HMS Motorsport, visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com, or send them a Facebook message and tell them the folks from Race Chaser Media sent you.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay.
Totally. Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now.
Totally. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
Covering the entire field from the back markers to the race winner every weekend. It's the Mitch Walker Show. And now, back to the doctor.
All right. Welcome back. It is the Mitch Walker Show on a Monday night. And joining me right now from right up the road, just a little ways up I-75, up there, Mountain View Raceway, Mr. Shannon Norwood. Shannon, how we doing tonight, buddy?
Pretty good, pretty good. Still at my shop wrapping, staying pretty busy this year.
I know you've got your hands in quite a bit of stuff. You own Full Moon Graphics, and you do a lot of wraps on race cars and a lot of other stuff. And this year you've stepped up, and you're running a show up there at Mountain View. Man, I tell you what, I was impressed when I got there Saturday night. I have to admit, I had a really good time. Everybody made me feel welcome. Sit up there with Tom Montgomery, hung out with him a little bit. Had a few microphone issues, but I mean that was to be expected, and hopefully we can come back up there again sometime and remedy that problem and really kick it off.
Oh yeah, I hope so. We got a few special events the rest of the year, or scheduled the rest of the year, and hopefully you can come up and visit us again, especially at the end of the year. We're going to do the Cheaters night, and that'll be your kind of night right there to come check those cars out.
Oh yeah, I do. I love them.
Oh, I know you like the cars with the wings and the sideboards and all that. And we got a little bit of a preview. The car carrying the flag this week was an old school car with a wing on the roof, and man, I tell you, just seeing that car to me just made me feel like I was in the '80s again. Just seeing that, because it's not so cookie cutter like we seem to see now a little bit, and the car had its own personality. I really like that.
Oh, it did, and I got to take a really good look at it up there in Victory Lane, as a lot of people did. And Dave Ordos brought his super modified out, and him and I had a long talk about that car and some of the other things that he's got going on. And that we done a Facebook Live up there with him, and that was pretty neat to sit back and talk with him and share the information about that car with all the fans. I do have to say though, it is different sitting on the back straight as far as the announcer goes, sitting on the back straight. But it was fun. I had a good time.
The first time I got at the tower, I went, wow, I'm going to be calling this right the op. And I said, I'm going to steal this from NASCAR. I come back to my shop and made some signs. We stuck them up in the corners. And after about a night of seeing those signs in the corners, I don't even notice the signs now, but seeing that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, it just kind of helped me the first night or two.
Yeah, it was a huge help, and Tom pointed that out to me when I got up there, and he said, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, he said, but sitting over here, the track is backwards. And I said, oh yeah, I said, those great big signs up 1, 2, 3, and 4 really helped me out to figure that out.
Yeah, it seems kind of kindergartenish, to stick numbers in the corners. But it really helped, but the track's got a lot of things I think kind of unique. It's definitely not like any track around.
I talked to Adam Stewart yesterday, who runs the Crate Racing USA, and he said that his group is just excited as could be to come up there and run Mountain View this coming weekend when y'all put $3,000 on the line for 50 laps. So that's good. That's going to go by pretty quick if you get some green flag laps.
Yeah, I think so. And this will be the first series that's visiting, visiting the track too. So it's going to be interesting how all that works out. But I mean, 50 laps, that's pretty cool. Next year, I'd love to see some 100-lappers myself, but there again, it takes it back to the old school racing I grew up watching at Atomic Speedway and that kind of stuff. Because Atomic's really the standard. If you want to open a track, you just go back to what Carson Branham and those guys done at Atomic, because that's the standard. And we don't need to put on any silly acts or anything. We just need to put on some good old school racing, and I think people will come out and watch, and nice facilities don't hurt for sure either.
Well, Shannon, I talked with a lot of the fans up there. I was walking around through the grandstands talking to a lot of them, and so many of them are just tickled to death that the improvements that have been made there. I mean, because I ain't gonna lie, at one time, Spring City was the track where if you mentioned you were going to Spring City, people would tell you, well, don't go up there by yourself. And the improvements that you guys have made up there have really, really cleaned that up. It makes it fun for a family. You can take your kids down there, clean facilities, great racing, killer surface. I mean, that track was awesome. I looked at it a little bit as we was leaving, and after all night of racing, it was still just smooth as could be. Didn't rut up, didn't break up, and y'all have done a really good job up there, I believe.
I used to say I go to Spring City once a year just to see why I don't go more, and now, I mean, I couldn't imagine being at a different track right now because, I mean, just the place really has instantly felt like home when I got over there. I really love the place, and it used to be my least favorite place, but now I love being over there, and of course every week we just run 4 races, so every week when the gates lock, I'm not thinking, okay, I'll see everybody next Saturday. I'm more thinking, what have we got to do to improve, and whether I'm complaining to Kelvin that maybe if we grade it a little better this way or that way, or maybe if we do this or that, we can make it better. So, the Hamptons, they want to make it better every week also, so it's been a good fit because they don't want to settle for being mediocre. They want a great place to race, and that's me. I don't want to set low goals. When I think of racetracks, I think of Dixie. I think of course Atomic, those tracks, and I think, man, that's my goal. I don't want to be mediocre. So I think we got a good start. I know we've had issues with this or that, but I think I think that's we're off to a good start and something to think about. And you've been going to the races a long time, also. So if you and I sit here and talked about all the great tracks we lost over the years, and Cleveland, there again, Atomic, we lost. I mean, I could give you a list just in the East Tennessee area: Big South Fork, Golden Mountain, Scenic. It goes on and on. But here's really something to think about. How many tracks have you and I seen start from basically nothing and open? So if this track had been around and been racing and we come in and took over, it would have been so much easier, but instead we kind of start from square one. So that's pretty awesome, but at the same time it's been a little scary because we didn't know what to expect, and not going to claim we're smart, but we just been playing it by ear and hoping we don't screw up too bad.
Well, I think the thing is that most people understand, and I know some of the fans up there I was talking to, one fan, and this one was the one that kind of got me. The one fan said, it really sucks that the line is so long at the concession stand. And the woman that was sitting with him said, yeah, but that means 2 things. That means that the food is good. And you look at it that way, it's a learning experience. I mean, anytime you open a racetrack and you bring one back from the dead, I mean, like y'all have done up there with Spring City, there's so much that is involved in it. people that's not behind the scenes that have never run a racetrack don't realize just how much work there is into getting a racetrack ready and to get it ready to race and to put on a good show. And so it's going to take a little bit to work the bugs out, but once the bugs get worked out, I think y'all are really on track for some good stuff up there.
Yeah, and I mean, the first night or two, it was just, working out our schedule, how we wanted to run things, just simple stuff that other tracks that's been doing it for years, have gotten it figured out. But like this week, it was roughly, 11:30 when we were ending our show, and that's, what do we run, 8 classes, and a hell of a lot of laps. I didn't count, but there was a lot of laps, and we got it done at roughly 11:30, so I thought, okay, that's good. Now I'm going to shoot to, if I could finish shows at 11 o'clock, run 7 to 8 classes every week and finish up around 11, no later than 11:30, I think we can be pretty happy with that. And I guess you've seen there's just a whole lot of stuff going on and a lot of new people, and so a lot of the people that works there has never helped at a racetrack, never done anything but sit in the stands. So it's been a learning experience for a lot of people.
Well, I think y'all are definitely on track for success. I mean, you've got a lot of things going your way, and I think it's one of the nicest racetracks that I've been to in a long time. I've been to 237 racetracks, I believe, is what my count is up to. And you're definitely in the top 10 of those racetracks. As far as where in the top 10, I'm not real sure. But when you're that high up, you got it going on. Now, we're up against the commercial break. I'm going to have to let you go, but I want to remind everybody, this coming weekend, Saturday night, Mountain View Raceway, Spring City, Tennessee, the Crate Racing USA rolls in for a 3,000 to win 50-lapper. Tell us, you got any details on that yet?
I'll be posting all the prices and all of that, tomorrow. We just been so busy. Mondays are just busy days, and a lot of stuff going on today. So I'll post a few things on that tomorrow on our Facebook, and that's pretty much where you get most of our information. And I'm expecting quite a few cars. I talked to Roby Helm from the Crate Racing USA series today, and he was thinking about roughly 30 of those guys coming in is what he was expecting. And I talked to Marcus Minga from Mississippi earlier, and he's wanting to make the haul. He's expecting to, and quite a few other guys from several other states. So it's going to be nice seeing all these guys roll in and seeing the place for the first time. And Kelvin, he's been on the track grading and cutting on the track different to maybe improving the track even for this weekend. I mean, every week we just see things we want to make better and better, and we're not going to settle for just opening the doors, and we've seen that at a lot of racetracks, and I just can't be a part of that type of deal. So I'm just lucky to be over here where they work very hard at giving everybody a great place to race.
Well, I tell you what, Shannon, man, y'all got it going in your direction. I think you're set up for success. You've got a great group of people up there. You're constantly improving. I'm gonna have to let you go, but everybody make your way up Spring City, Tennessee, Mountain View Raceway this coming weekend for the Crate Racing USA 50-lapper, paying $3,000 to win, along with racing in other divisions. All that information will be available tomorrow on Mountain View Raceway's Facebook page. If you haven't already, go over there, hit the like button, and share it tomorrow when they post it. Get that information out there and let everybody know. Shannon, thanks for joining us tonight, and hope to see you again real soon, buddy.
All right, thank you. I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Shannon Norwood, everyone, with Mountain View Raceway, also Full Moon Graphics. If you have a graphics need a wrap for your race car, call Shannon. He'll be glad to fix you up. Check him out on his Facebook page, Full Moon Graphics, along with Mountain View Raceway. All right, we're going to step out, take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to shift gears and talk a little bit of NASCAR, and we'll just see how that goes as we bring in a lifelong friend of mine right here on the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, and you'll find me exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Do you love the sound of high revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves a majority of NASCAR, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schubert helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Olero fireproof underwear, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the staff at HMS is always ready to take the time and help you find the right product for your specific safety needs. You have family and friends who care about you, so don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Just stop in to HMS Motorsport, visit them on the website at hmsmotorsport.com, or send them a message on Facebook. Tell them the folks from Race Chaser Media sent you.
If you're a racer and you've not yet heard of Raceworks Incorporated in Berlin, Connecticut, you'll be hearing about them soon. Raceworks is Connecticut's official LFR and Troyer repair shop and fabricator for all your modified chassis needs. Raceworks Incorporated is your one-stop race shop covering all of your modified needs. From a complete roller to fabrication of new body panels for that beginning of year update or for an after-race weekend repair, Raceworks Incorporated has you covered. Raceworks Incorporated, also specializing in prep, chassis setup, shock testing, and interior fabrication. Raceworks Incorporated is proudly owned and operated by New England Antique Racers Association inductee Ed Flemke. That's Raceworks Incorporated, located in Berlin, Connecticut. Give them a call at 860-829-1312. That's 860-829-1312. Raceworks Incorporated. Tell all your racing friends.
What an awesome game. What's up with your car? I don't know. It won't start. How are we getting home? Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
It's the Mitch Walker Show. If you're looking for a lot of happy talk and fluff, go watch NASCAR coverage on NBC. Now, here's the doctor.
All right, welcome back. You know, I told you before the break we were going to shift gears and we were going to step into NASCAR, and that we are, but we're going to take a different look. Everybody's talking about the rebel flag and the Bubba Wallace thing. We're going to shift gears, and we're going to shift it into high gear. Because the young man I'm bringing on now, I can testify to, has been a NASCAR fan for 40-plus years. The reason I know this is him and I went to high school together. And we talked about this earlier tonight and on the phone, and that's the reason I brought him on tonight, because we're going to get it from a fan's point of view. Joining me right now, good friend and classmate, and NASCAR fan, Mr. Larry Bronfin. Larry, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, Mitch. It's great to be here, and it is certainly a pleasure to be on your show.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, I mean, if somebody would have told us, 40-something years ago that we would be doing this one day, me and you both would have laughed them out of the building.
Yeah, I probably, back in the 70s, I had no idea what kind of career path I wanted back then. I was all over the place.
Well, mine has pretty much been the same, most of it, but I'm happy with where it's wound up. And one of the reasons that I wanted to get you on here is because I know you will tell it like it is. And we don't sugarcoat nothing here. If you want something sugar-coated, go to Krispy Kreme. Because on this show, we tell it like it is. Sometimes we make people mad and upset them, but as I see it, maybe they needed to be gotten mad, and maybe they needed to be upset. But I wanted to step into this kind of slow. Back when you first became a fan of NASCAR, what was it about the sport of NASCAR that drew you in? What was it that captured your attention?
Well, I guess at that age, I would have to say just the love of cars got me started. I'm sure as you were back then, when you're 16, 17, 18, 19, cars are premier in your life. And being able to, win on Sunday and buy on Monday was a big deal back then.
And I think you're right on so many levels, because there was a certain level of identity, I guess you could say. We could look at the cars that were racing then and go to the showroom on Monday and see pretty much the exact same car sitting on the showroom floor, minus tires and a paint job. But I mean, body-wise, it was the same car on the showroom floor that we were watching on the racetrack. And I think that's one of the things that really drew me into it. And over the years, that has kind of gone away, and it's kind of turned into the cars we see today are all hand built. And I've got nothing against hand built race cars, because I come from a dirt racing world, and 90% of those cars are hand built. It's not like you can go down to Walmart or the local Ford dealer and buy one. They have to be hand built from an assortment of parts. And I understand that, but NASCAR has taken, over the years, it has taken and evolved. And when you look at the days of Rex White in 1960, I had Rex White. He was the 1960 NASCAR champion. He was on my show, and he talked about the cars that they built then. They went to the dealership and got them, brought them home, modified some of the parts, put in a set of belts, maybe a roll bar or two, and they went racing. And that's what these guys were racing back then, was really and truly stock cars. And today that has really shifted gears, and it's no longer that way, is it?
No, it's not. And another big part of that is not only the automobile has morphed into something that we can't relate to in a lot of ways that we used to be able to. In other words, back in our day, you could tune up a 69 Camaro with a 396, with a timing light and some points and plugs. You can't do that anymore. You have to have a computer to work on a car, Guys don't get out there and change their own oil anymore. You run down the Jiffy Lube for 15 minutes. I learned how to change the oil in the backyard of my house in Athens, Georgia, being taught by my older brother, But getting back to your point about the car morphing into something we can't relate to, it's also the driver's the problem. Back when I became a NASCAR fan, the driver was the star. It was the thing. You had the king. Everybody knew who the king was.
And nowadays, you don't have that. Back when you were talking.
No.
Me and you both came along about the same time of the fisticuff brawl on the back straight between Bobby Allison and that bunch when they went to blows on the back straight. And they showed it to America.
Yeah. that got a lot of people watching
those days are gone.
NASCAR. That event right there in itself. But
I think one of the
getting back to my point, the reason I feel disconnected from NASCAR today is that two things. I don't feel, I'm not attracted to any of the cars on the track. I'm sorry, I'm just not. I don't like the cars on the track. But there's no drivers out. There's no number 3. There's not people banging around. There's a few of them do it. The Bush brothers like to bang around a little, and then Jimmy gets upset every now and then, and he will run into somebody. But other than that, they just don't bend metal like they used to.
I think the passion is gone. You've got drivers out there now who most of them race for money rather than racing because they love the sport.
Right. And also, I think back in the day, it's not only the cars that I could relate to and the drivers that I could relate to, but also the sponsors. There was Country Time Lemonade, Hawaiian Tropic Suntan Lotion. There were things I could relate to. I can't relate to all these internet banks and technology companies that are sponsoring these drivers now. They're not something I go to the store and put my hands on. They're not tangible items. I want to be able to, go buy a can of Mountain Dew and say I'm drinking it for the old 88,
Yep. And we all remember the Hawaiian Tropic girls.
Oh, yeah.
It's you mentioned earlier that one of your favorite drivers was Davey Allison. And, Davey was a true personality. I mean, he was one of the last members of the Alabama gang. And watching him race against his dad, to me, that was special. That was something that you don't see very often. And when Davey won his first race, who was the first person in victory lane? It was his dad. His dad come up there. Or when Bobby beat his son come to victory lane pouring beer over his dad's head. You don't see that today because everyone has gotten too politically correct. They've given up the passion for the sport in exchange for the revenue of the sport.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Davey because, yes, I am still a huge Davey Allison fan. And I'm not sure if your fans know this or not, but when Davey was killed, Davey's family got together and they donated his organs. He saved like 4 people's lives just from his organs. Yep. Now, these are people that put God first. That's what's wrong with this country today. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get political on you, but NASCAR has always paralleled a lot of my beliefs because NASCAR was always parallel with believing in putting God first. And I think the further we get away from that, the further we disconnect from things, and I think that's another reason why I disconnect from NASCAR right now.
Well, one of the things, and I've been involved in dirt track racing for a great number of years. I don't want to say how many because I keep dating myself, but one of the things that I'm hearing from more and more and more fans that I see at the racetrack is they are saying the same thing that you have said. That they no longer feel connected. They're disconnected from NASCAR because they feel like NASCAR has kicked them to the curb. And I'm not talking about the Confederate flag or any of that stuff. I'm talking about the way NASCAR has treated their fans over the past 10 or 15 years. And they've lost sight of what got them there. And there was an old saying that says, dance with the one that brung you. And if the rowdy group brought you to the top, then you need to stick with the rowdy group all the way to the end. You don't switch horses in the middle of the stream, and I feel that that's what NASCAR is doing right now, that they're switching horses.
Well, I'm sorry to say, I'm not a business expert, but I have a strong opinion that if they don't change their philosophy on dealing with fans and how to treat their fans, there won't be any fans, and soon there won't be any NASCAR.
Well, that goes back to something I said last week, and I've said it quite a few times. I want to thank NASCAR for what they're doing, because everything that NASCAR is doing is driving dirt track racing attendance through the roof, because the fans are coming to dirt tracks, local dirt tracks, to see racing again. And it's killing NASCAR, but it is just blowing dirt track racing up. And we have seen 3 or 4 racetracks that I know of that have come back from the dead. We just had the promoter for Spring City, Mountain View. They've come back from the dead. There's Little Kokomo down in South Georgia, Daisy Speedway. They have come back from the dead. That's pretty much a brand new track, but they're slowly coming back. And there's racetracks all across the country that had been closed before that are now reopening. And it's really getting to be a great thing, because, fans just want to see good, hard racing. But, it's just, you have made my point for me that, NASCAR has disenfranchised themselves from their core group of fans that got them to where they are.
You're right, Mitch. And I'm just perplexed about the decision-making at the top level, because, all those big offices and million-dollar homes aren't going to pay for themselves. And if they put themselves out of business, we're going to lose a sport that has what I would consider one of the richest and most colorful histories in the world. The way NASCAR came about, to me, is just true American spirit. And they're just going to run it in the ground.
The days of the little man in NASCAR are gone, and it's all corporate level now. And you made that point, and I couldn't agree with you more. The other night at Mountain View, they had a throwback weekend, and they brought in some old race cars and had them sitting in Victory Lane up there for people to see them. And they told everybody, wear your old T-shirts. And I broke out a couple of my old T-shirts, and they look like crop tops, when I put them on. So I just went ahead and wore a newer one that was in a 2X size. But it was fun getting to see a lot of these old T-shirts, and there was quite a few Davey Allison shirts up there. There was a lot of Dale Earnhardt shirts, even a few Bill Elliott shirts. And it was refreshing to see those, because I've always been an Elliott fan, and had the pleasure of working with his wife Cindy at the Hall of Fame over here in Dawsonville this past year, and learning a little bit more about him, sitting down and talking to him. And, a lot of these guys that have retired or stepped away from NASCAR nowadays, they just kind of look back at it and shake their head. It's like they don't know what happened to their sport. But it's sad that it has taken this direction. And I think one of the things that NASCAR needs to do is to get back and let the drivers be drivers. Let the boys be boys. And then they smack their hands when they didn't. And I think that's one of the things that they're going to have to change moving forward if they intend to save the series and save the sport, because nobody wants to see this, I guess you could say, the disinfected version of NASCAR the way it is today. It's not as fun to watch. You don't have the controversies. You don't have the rivalries between drivers like you used to have.
Like we said, like I told you earlier, how much time do you have? The Intimidator, we don't have an Intimidator. Do we have a Cale Yarborough? No. Do we have a Mario Andretti? No, I haven't seen one of those either. Let's see. I could keep going. Do we have the Alabama gang? No, I haven't seen one of those. I could probably do this all
Benny
night.
Parsons.
We don't have any characters. We need more fistfights in the pit area. We need some color.
Something that we can talk about at the cooler. But I tell you what, hold that thought, Larry.
Exactly.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we'll shift gears and do this all over again. It's the Mitch Walker Show with me, your host, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, and my very special guest and longtime friend and high school cohort, Mr. Larry Bronfin. And you'll find us exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
If you're a racer and you've not yet heard of Raceworks Incorporated in Berlin, Connecticut, you'll be hearing about them soon. Raceworks is Connecticut's official LFR and Troyer repair shop and fabricator for all your modified chassis needs. Raceworks Incorporated is your one-stop race shop covering all of your modified needs. From a complete roller to fabrication of new body panels for that beginning-of-year update or for an after-race weekend repair, Raceworks Incorporated has you covered. Raceworks Incorporated, also specializing in prep, chassis setup, shock testing, and interior fabrication. Raceworks Incorporated is proudly owned and operated by New England Antique Racers Association inductee Ed Flemke. That's Raceworks Incorporated, located in Berlin, Connecticut. Give them a call at 860-829-1312. That's 860-829-1312. Raceworks Incorporated. Tell all your racing friends.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. On with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem, and no excuses, because it's not rocket science, it's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu, that's mycomputercareer.edu.
Do you love the sound of high revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
You've got it locked to the Mitch Walker Show. Actual evidence that the math you learned in high school can be useful. Now back to the doctor.
All right, welcome back. And it's kind of ironic that re-entry there about the math that we learned in high school. It's kind of ironic that I have a high school buddy on the show tonight. So, but Larry, I remember back in the 70s when we were both at Rabid Gap, and Sunday afternoons we'd come back from church and the race would be on, and we would sit there and watch the race and enjoy the competition, because there was a lot of it. And they showed the little guys back then, too. They didn't just show just the top 3 or the top 4 super teams. They showed everybody, and a 2-car team was unheard of. And it was you could get passionate about it. It was something that you felt down inside. I mean, I don't know how to describe it other than you're passionate about it, but it was racing the way it was supposed to be. And nowadays, it's turned around and it's turned into like a corporate commercial. I mean, the drivers have no personalities. The cars all look exactly the same. They're just a different color. And there's nothing you can get passionate about anymore, is there?
No. And again, I hate to, be repetitive, but I have to go back to the drivers, the characters, the Dick Trickles, who, I'm sure you remember this. Dick used to wear patent leather dress shoes driving a race car.
Yep.
And how many drivers
and he smoked while he was racing
cigarettes during the race?
Yeah.
I remember drivers smoking during the race. You just can't make that up. That's just hilarious.
You look back at Larry, you look back at some of the David Pearson. He was a good one. Fred Lorenzen, Dan Gurney. I mean, the list of drivers goes on and on and on that you and I grew up watching. And, when I mention I would love to see racing back like it used to be, one of the common responses I get to that statement is, oh, yeah, I've watched those on YouTube. Nobody wants to watch somebody win a race by 7 laps. Well, yes, there was a couple of instances then where a driver would just dominate one show and there only be 2 cars on the lead lap. But what you also seen then was you seen the little guy. You seen the guys like Lenny Pons, who would come, Jim Pascal, the guys who would put the cars together in their backyard, tow them to the racetrack on an open trailer, and get out and go racing with the big boys, the Pettys, the Yarboroughs, the Pearsons. And there was that rivalry between the little guy and the super team, like Pettys and and the Wood brothers. And those days are gone. Now you have the haves and the have-not. And it's really more obvious because the have-nots are really struggling. They're out there just to try to make a few laps, and they're doing everything they can just to hang on. And they know they're not competitive, but they're there. They want to race, and that's the sad part, because used to the guys that showed up on a Sunday afternoon to race, they were there to win. Now they may not have a snowball's chance in hell of winning, but by God, that was their intention. They were there to win.
Yeah, we've got to get somebody in the upper level management in NASCAR to take a good look at the good old days and make a comparison and a contrast and come up with some dialogue with some PR people on how to change some things and make it more exciting for the fans. Because we really, I don't want to see the sport disappear and go away. I love this sport.
I do too. And I will be the first to admit that change is inevitable, and we, as racers, we have to abide by that, and we just have to deal with it. But it seems like you should be able to find some common ground, and you should be able to find something that will appease the new fans and draw in new fans, as well as keep the old fans happy and give them what they want, instead of just drawing the line in the sand and going, okay, this is the way it's going to be from now on. If you don't like it, go kick rocks. Because that's the opinion NASCAR has today, that if you don't like what they're doing, you can go kick rocks. You can go somewhere else. And that's what a lot of fans are doing, because the attendance at their track races shows it.
Well, buddy, I sure hope you can make some headway and make some improvement or make some suggestions, and somebody will listen to you, because there's so many wonderful people across this land that love that sport. And I'm sure, I just want to cry when I watch the Talladega race, with nobody in the stands. That's just crazy. It's just crazy to me.
It is, Larry. It really is. Well, we are now up against the end of the show, and we're getting ready to wrap it up. But, man, really and truly, I do want to get you back on here one day, and let's take a little bit more look at some of the things we would like to see come back. From a point of view of, if you and I were president and vice president of NASCAR, what are some of the changes you would make? And I think that between me, you, and Bill Blair, I think we should come up with some good ideas, and it's something that maybe we can get O'Donnell and Phelps to look at, the two top guys at NASCAR, because it's clear that they're smoking the stuff that killed Elvis right now, because they ain't got a clue in the world what the hell the fans want. But thanks so much for coming on tonight, Larry.
My pleasure, Mitch.
Love to have you back anytime. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Larry Bronfin, high school buddy, and we won't tell people what he does for a living, but he's a paramedic. But he lives down in Florida, so he's got a different perspective. He's not involved in any race teams. He's not dedicated to any race teams. He don't work for none of them. He's just a regular fan. And that's the thing that I wanted to present tonight on this segment of the show, was what a fan thinks, and what the fans who don't have as much involvement in racing as say I do, or Bill Blair does. I wanted to get the opinion of the Joe Blow average race fan out there, and what they thought. And a lot of the ones that I've talked to, they said exactly the same thing that Larry said. Gone are the rivalries. Gone are the conflicts, the fist fights on pit road. Gone are the intense rivalries that we used to have, like between Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt, between Terry Labonte and Dale Earnhardt. We don't have any more Dale Earnhardts. We don't have any Davey Allisons and Alan Kulwicki's. Those guys are gone. And what NASCAR has changed it to, a lot of the old fans don't like it. And it has nothing to do with ignoring technology. I mean, we can still have great racing and still have some controversies, a fist fight every now and then, or a rivalry, without destroying the sport. And I think that's what NASCAR has overlooked, and it breaks my heart that it has turned into this. That's why I'm always preaching and screaming and hollering about NASCAR needs to dance with the ones that brung them. Point blank, the people that made the sport what it is. But I want to thank my guest tonight. I want to thank Jeff Lambert from Jeff Lambert Racing and Armed Forces Racing. Go check him out on his websites, and we will get the links to those posted to the show page. So if you want to join up and team up with Jeff Lambert, you'll be happy to. Shannon Norwood from Mountain View Raceway up in Spring City, Tennessee. And Larry Bronfin from right down the road here in Florida, just a fan, just somebody who's got an opinion and was willing to share it tonight. I want to thank each and every one of those, and tickles me to death that you tuned in tonight. So hope you'll tune in next Monday night as we wrap it up and do it again. But it has been the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, and you'll find me exclusively every Monday night right here on the Performance Motorsports Network. See ya.
Y'all ready for this?
You've been listening to The Mitch Walker Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stay tuned to Performance Motorsports Network for more race talk. For the latest motorsports news, The Mitch Walker Show is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com. A member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and the ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers or marketing partners. Be listening again next week when the Mitch Walker Show returns on Monday night at 9:30 Eastern. Until then, stay tuned for more great motorsports programming on the Performance Motorsports Network.